I am 80 years old, and last spring my children tried to move me into a care home 2 states away. The painful part is not that they tried. The painful part is that, for 3 days, I helped them pack. I want you to understand how it happens. It does not begin with threats or cruelty. It begins with concern. It begins with gentle voices saying, "We only want what's best." And sometimes it works because you are too tired to keep proving that your life still belongs to you. It started the morning after a storm. A heavy pecan limb had fallen during the night and cracked the low wall around my courtyard. It had not destroyed the wall. It had cracked it. There is a difference, but frightened children do not always see differences. They see one broken brick and imagine a funeral. I was outside in my housecoat and work gloves, pulling wet branches into a pile when all three of my children arrived without calling. My son brought trash bags and a rented chainsaw. My oldest daughter carried a tablet. My youngest brought coffee, as if a warm cup could soften what they had come to say. I thought they had come to help. They had come with a plan. My son examined the wall and said, "This is exactly what we've been talking about." We. That one word told me everything. They had been talking, just not with me. My daughter showed me photographs of a care home near my son's house in Ohio. A clean room, a narrow bed, a small window with stiff curtains. She said I would be 10 minutes from my grandchildren. She said the place had a courtyard too, which was a cruel thing to say while I was standing in mine. My son promised there would be no more storm damage to handle, no maintenance, no weeds, no worrying when I did not answer my phone. My youngest said nothing. She bent down and pulled wet leaves from the broken mortar. That silence hurt more than the words. They had already called the care home. They had asked about availability. They had discussed selling my house. They had measured the life I had left and decided it would fit inside one room. I have lived here for 52 years. My husband and I laid every brick in this courtyard the summer our middle child was born. He mixed mortar in an old metal tub while I pressed bricks into place with swollen feet and a baby kicking beneath my ribs. The pecan tree was thin then. Now it shades half the courtyard and drops nuts hard enough to sound like someone knocking at the gate. One brick near that gate sits slightly higher than the others. My husband refused to reset it. He told me, "Leave it alone. Every place needs one stubborn thing." That morning, I wanted to be that stubborn thing, but I was tired. You can love your home and still be tired of defending your right to remain in it. You can love your children and grow weary of their worried looks, their sighs, and those careful pauses before they say your name. I was tired of being the reason they checked the weather, tired of hearing, "Did you remember your phone?" Tired of feeling as though every bruise was evidence in a case they were building. So when my daughter suggested deciding which possessions I might take with me, I did not stop her. I let her walk through my house. I let her open drawers. I let her place little blue stickers on the things she thought would transition well. Transition. That is a word people use when they do not want to say loss. She marked my cedar chest, the lamp beside my reading chair, and the photograph of my husband holding our first grandchild. She passed over the hutch because it was too large. She ignored the sewing machine because there would be no space. She did not mark the iron table in my courtyard. The care home already had outdoor furniture. I stood there and watched my life become two piles, what might fit and what would disappear. By noon, my son had cut up the fallen limb. By 2, my daughter had made a list. By 4, my youngest finally looked at me and said it might be easier. Easier for whom? I wish I had asked. Instead, I said I would think about it. They treated that as a yes, wearing a thin coat. For 3 days, those blue stickers remained. Every time I passed one, my stomach tightened. It felt as though my children had marked the few pieces of me they still considered useful. On the fourth day, I agreed to visit the care home. My children were cheerful during the drive. They talked about prepared meals, card games, and the grandchildren visiting after school. They talked about everything I would gain because nobody wanted to mention what I would lose. The care home was clean, clean floors, clean windows, clean smiles. A woman at the front desk called me young lady, and I nearly turned around. The room they showed me was smaller than my sitting room. Its window faced a delivery entrance where a man was unloading boxes of paper towels. My daughter pointed beside the window and said my chair could go there. My chair, as if one chair could carry 52 years. In the hallway was a board covered with cheerful activities, movie night, crafts, chair exercises, sing-alongs. I am not against care homes. Some people need them. Some people choose them and find security and companionship there. There is no shame in needing care. But there is a difference between choosing care and being sent away before you are ready. As we passed the common room, I noticed an older woman sitting beside a window with a folded napkin in her lap. She was not smiling or crying. She was staring at a potted plant as if waiting for it to say something. I said hello. She asked if I was new. I told her, not yet. She looked at my feet and said, keep your shoes on then. My daughter laughed because she thought the woman was joking. I did not. Those words followed me all the way home. That night, I sat alone in my courtyard. The cut pecan wood smelled sharp and green. The wall was cracked, and the blue stickers were still inside. Then I touched the stubborn brick near the gate. That was when I understood. My children were treating a crack like a collapse, and I had almost believed them. A wall can be repaired. A person can need help without surrendering her entire life. I did not need to be removed. I needed the mortar fixed and my children to stop mistaking their fear for wisdom. The following morning, I wrote down several truths. The first was that help arriving with a hidden destination is not help. If my children had offered to repair the wall, that would have been help. If they had asked what would make me safer here, that would have been help. But they arrived with trash bags, photographs, and a care home already selected. That was not help. That was a plan. The second truth was that when someone tells you what you will be near, you must ask what you will be far from. I love my grandchildren, but being near them in Ohio meant being far from my neighbors, my church, my husband's grave, and the courtyard where my life still recognized me. One kind of closeness should not erase every other kind. The third truth was that just for now can become forever. My daughter said I could try the care home for one season. My son insisted nothing had to be permanent, but my house would need to be sold to cover the fees. My furniture would be divided, and my courtyard would belong to someone else. People use the word just to make a door sound small. Some doors lock behind you. The fourth truth was the hardest. My children's fear was real, but it was not entitled to make my decisions. They were not villains. My son imagined me falling. My oldest feared another storm. My youngest feared receiving a telephone call in the night. Their worry came from love. But love can panic. Love can cross a boundary. Love can take away the very thing it claims to protect. My final truth was that my home still gave me purpose. My children saw weeds. I saw something to tend. They saw a damaged wall. I saw a repair to arrange. They saw old bricks. I saw the record of my hands. Purpose is not always grand. Sometimes it is sweeping leaves at sunrise. Sometimes it is feeding birds. Sometimes it is knowing the gate sticks and being the one who knows how to lift it. Right here, I want to ask you one question. Has your family ever made plans for your future before asking what you wanted? Tell me yes or no in the comments. If you feel comfortable, include your age so others can see they are not alone. And if this story feels familiar, subscribe and stay with me. This is where we speak honestly about aging, dignity, and the conversations families often have behind closed doors. After writing my truths, I called a mason. A woman arrived in a red truck with a ladder strapped to the top. She inspected the wall, tapped the bricks, and tested the mortar. Then she said, "This wall is not failing. It was hit by a tree. Big difference." I nearly cried. Big difference. Those two words gave me back my breath. She repaired the wall in 2 days. Then I made my own plan. I hired someone to help with heavy work twice a week. I installed a brighter light near the gate. I had the slippery flagstone reset. I placed emergency numbers where I could see them and agreed to carry my phone outside. I did not pretend to be 40. I simply refused to be treated as though I were already gone. Then I removed every blue sticker. I peeled them from the lamp, the chest, the photograph, and the furniture. Some left sticky marks, so I scrubbed those away too. I pressed every sticker onto a sheet of white paper and wrote one word above them: number. When my children returned, I met them in the courtyard. The repaired wall stood behind me. I told them I was not moving to Ohio. I was not entering the care home. I was not selling my house. I was not punishing them, and I was not asking permission. My son wanted to know whether they were supposed to wait for something bad to happen. I told him something bad already had happened. They had planned my departure while I was still standing there. My oldest insisted they had only wanted to protect me. I told her then, "Protect me here. Help repair what breaks. Do not use every broken thing as a reason to remove me." My youngest began to cry. She admitted she had never wanted me to go. She simply had not wanted to fight the others. Her silence had not been agreement. It had been fear wearing a quiet dress. My son finally admitted he did not know how to handle any of this. I told him I did not know either, but he could not solve that uncertainty by erasing me. We did not embrace and heal in one perfect moment. Real families rarely do. Sometimes healing is awkward. Sometimes it sits quietly with its elbows on the table and does not know where to look. But something changed. My son now calls before making plans. My oldest still worries, but she asks better questions. My youngest visits on Thursdays and sits with me in the courtyard. The care home called one more time and asked whether it should keep my information on file. I said, "No, thank you. I am not a file. I am not against care. I am against being reduced to a problem. I am not against help. I am against help that arrives with my destination already chosen. And I am not against my children. I am against disappearing to make their lives easier. If your family has shown you a brochure or said, "It's just for now," take a breath before answering. Do not decide from guilt. Do not decide from exhaustion. Ask who made the plan. Ask what happens to your home. Ask whether a problem can be repaired before someone condemns your entire life. And if you need care, choose it with your eyes open and your voice present. Needing help does not take away your dignity. Your needs matter, and so do your wishes. I am 80 years old. The repaired mortar is lighter than the old mortar. My iron chair still faces the gate. The stubborn brick still sits higher than the rest. Every morning, I touch it with my shoe before I sit down. It reminds me that every place needs one stubborn thing. In this courtyard, that thing is me. If this story meant something to you, subscribe before you leave and turn on notifications. Share it with someone who needs to remember that help should never mean losing their voice. Then answer one final question in the comments. If this decision came to your door tomorrow, what is one thing you would do? I am 80 years old. The wall cracked. I did not.